All right, guys. Welcome to Press X Podcast, episode 40, part 2. Yes, that's right, part 2. First time ever in Press X Podcast history. Thank you guys for showing up on such short notice. You may hear my PS5 in the background. I'm not sure what's going on. It's turned on, and it's spinning the disc. I don't know why. So I forgot to turn that off. Not a big deal. But obviously the first podcast, or part 1, ended a bit abruptly, and I didn't feel so good about it. So I thought, let's just do part 2. I really felt like I wasn't finished with my topics, and I always especially feel bad when I can't do the Q&A with the chat. So because this is so kind of last minute, I don't know what the view count's going to be like or what the viewership's going to be like. But either way, I do have some more things I want to talk about. And I'm most likely going to keep this very short considering. And another positive from this, for those who were here earlier, I'm sure you noticed that I was having some serious issues with the footage. So the credit roll seems to be going good, but I'm going to bring the gameplay up now, and you guys can let me know how the gameplay looks this time. I have it set to 30 FPS for the stream, so it should be good now. So let me know if it's smooth or not. This was actually another reason I really wanted to go live again, because I felt really annoyed at the fact that I had this all set up and it wasn't working the first time. So yeah, it's looking good. It's looking smooth. All right, good. I'm glad. Yeah, so obviously I had to end the first portion of the podcast abruptly because there were some things that came up. You're saying the audio seems to be cutting in and out. Is that happening to you guys? Is anybody else having audio issues, or is this just an isolated incident for this one individual? Because everything looks good on my end. No. All right. Sean, you might have to, it might be on your end, buddy. All right. Well, everything seems to be going smoothly. How do you guys like the new podcast layout, by the way? I had the X button, or the cross button. Don't want to upset anybody right now. Had the cross button updated to match the one that's on the PS5. I thought it looked pretty cool. But yeah, so obviously things kind of happened randomly. Some not so good things. I looked into it. MBG, you are fake. You didn't even mention the PS5 flaws and issues that people are having. I don't know if you know this, man, but I couldn't get to that. That was actually literally my next topic before some things happened to the stream. Nikolai, you're saying you should appear in front of your camera more often. You seemed very confident. You're a good-looking man. I'm sorry if you felt pushed to do so. Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. No, I didn't feel pushed or pressured to go on camera or anything like that. I just, I thought it would be fun, and I did enjoy it. I would like to go on camera more often. I probably will, just probably not every time. And so, the reason why I wanted to specifically show this Demon Souls stream gameplay is because you can get a better idea of what it would be like for me to be on camera during, say, the podcast. So you can see me in the bottom right corner. Obviously, if I were to do that, it would be a little bit different than what you're seeing here. But yeah, I mean, it's something we can consider. There's a lot of people who say that they are totally cool and actually prefer me not being on camera, and they've gotten used to that. So I don't want to ruin a good thing, but yeah, everything seems to be okay now. I really don't know what exactly happened earlier. I had to just sort some stuff out with, just some stuff that was going on, and I don't know. It was really weird. I never had that happen before. I never had that happen before. And so I'm thinking everything's okay right now. I hope it is, obviously. I don't know why people would do that. I don't know. I'm just over here trying to do my thing, but it is what it is. I guess it comes with the territory. There's not really much that can be said about it. So I just want to thank everybody, though, for your continued support here. Everything's good for now. For those that don't know what happened, I was doing the podcast earlier and I was really getting on a roll there. It was going well. I was enjoying it. Even though there were some technical difficulties, I was really enjoying it, and the audience seemed to be enjoying it. I was doing some ranting, and I just got notified that, potential account breaches and stuff like that. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And so, obviously I was in the middle of the stream and I had to deal with that. And so, hopefully that's the last of it. And again, I just felt really bad the way the podcast ended. Although there were some people who were saying that they actually liked the shorter podcast. So I don't know. Either way, I figured, we'll just do a part 2, because why not? And I know it's abrupt, and I know that there's a lot of people who are not going to be able to tune in because it's not at the normal time. But I do actually, like I said, I still had some topics that I wanted to go over with you guys. So I figured we could just run down these topics pretty quickly, go over them, and then I want to do a little Q&A with the chat, because that's usually how we always end it. And so, yeah, bonus episode part 2. Wasn't expecting to do this, but yeah, to be honest, when I do my podcast, I don't really shoot for a specific time. I just try to, I try to make it worth it for everybody, and I try to offer enough content, but it usually is just based on, what I'm going to be saying. Like, if I have more to say, I'm just going to keep going. If I'm running out of things to say, then, I'll usually refer to the chat to talk with you guys for a little bit and then end it. So Anyway, let's finish off these topics here because one of the topics that a lot of people were asking me to bring up and go a little bit more in depth with are some of the potential hardware issues that people are having with their new consoles. Now, this is not just exclusively for the PS5. It seems that both consoles are having some issues, although I won't lie, I have seen a few more reports about the PS5 floating around than I have the Xbox Series X or S. And so, it says, I wrote down here, there are some PS5 users running into some issues, which is to be expected with any new hardware launch. One issue that has popped up a few times is apparently those who are connecting their HDDs to the PS5. Basically, if you have a hard drive that you're connecting to your PS5 for, PS4 games, apparently this actually has the potential to cause a lot of issues at the moment. For some people, I don't know how true it is, but for some people, it's apparently bricking their consoles. I don't know about that. Like, I mean, I don't know. There are some people who are just apparently their consoles are just dying, but it's not, as far as we know right now, it's not really like widespread. It's not something where like 75 or 50% of people who bought PS5s they're dying. It's nothing like that. But there are some unlucky individuals where that's happening to them. And so I would recommend right now when it comes to the, having a hard drive, be careful if you're going to hook it up to your PS5. I would honestly wait on that and not touch it, not do anything until maybe there's some type of update or Sony acknowledges it or whatever. If you are an unlucky individual where your console gets bricked, I'm assuming you'll be able to send it back to Sony and get another one. You do have the manufacturer's warranty. Let me see. There was something else too. Another prominent issue that seems to have been cropping up has to do with Spider-Man Miles Morales, where if you enter rest mode while the game is still running, apparently it causes your console to like just glitch out completely or something. Some people are saying it bricks their console. Some people are saying it means they need to format their PS5 or whatever. So I don't, I can't really sit here and say whether or not like this is a serious issue or not, simply because this is a new hardware launch. We did hear reports earlier in the year that there were a lot of PS5s that were coming off of the conveyor belt that were just not working, but there's a filtration process that they go through obviously to ensure, but some are going to slip through the cracks. As I told you, and knock on wood here, I really don't have any serious issues going on right now with me and my PlayStation 5. It's been working perfectly fine. And again, I hope I'm not jinxing myself, but I figured I would let you guys know, like if I had any issues, I would tell you. Anything that is serious. I did say in the first part of the podcast that the biggest issue I experienced is a game crashing a couple times. I think the worst is it crashed twice within like a half hour of a play session, and that was Call of Duty. So you're saying you've had your external HDD C-gate attached to your PS5 since Thursday. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's gonna happen. It's there are some people who are gonna do stuff with their PS5 yet. That when they do it, it's gonna cause issues. It's the nature of the beast. It is the way it is. There have been issues, as I said, with the Series X as well. I haven't seen as many. We know the Series X apparently, we know it gets hot, but again, there was like, Microsoft put out that tweet where they're like, don't blow vape into your Series X, which that was kind of funny. Whoever came up with that. I mean, not a good idea, obviously, but new NES Braga, you're saying mine has a small coil whine, barely noticeable. I don't even know what that is, guys. Like, I'm not going to lie to you right now. Like, I kept seeing reports of that, and I don't know exactly what that is. I'm assuming it just means you hear, like, a specific, like, whining type noise coming from the console. And if that's the case, the only time, like right now, my PS5's on and there's nothing. The only time I ever hear anything is if basically if the disc is spinning, and even then it seems to only do that when it's actually installing something. So inductor coils make the noise when under the lid. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like people are, you know how people get. Some are gonna try to run with this just like they did for the Xbox and make it seem like it's doom and gloom. It's Red Ring of Death Part 2 for the PS5 now, and even for the Xbox. It's just like, to be honest, guys, I hope that, I mean, it does seem like a lot of overreacting. To be fair, the people who it's affecting, I can't blame them for getting really upset, because if it was me, and it could still be me, if something were to happen, I'd be morbidly depressed. Like I would be really upset. Um, and so, it is a situation where we just have to kind of wait a little bit, wait it out, see what happens. If this is going to be a serious issue for either console, like if there are serious defect issues, or there's just some kind of like fault with the console that, every console coming off of the conveyor belt, it has this issue, we're going to know about it. Like we're going to know, but I don't know. There's, for every one person that is taking to a forum, that is posting on the internet that something is going wrong with their console, there's probably like 300 other people, or a lot more than that, probably way more than that, probably 1,000 people or a couple thousand people who they're not having any issues at all. So that's the thing I think people kind of lose sight of when we hear about these reports. The same goes for the Series X. We're talking about millions of consoles being sold over the next couple of weeks. And so anytime you see some stuff come out, there obviously are. I remember, what was it? ACG, he said his PS5 died. I saw it was Richard Review Tech, his editor's PS5 died. I haven't looked into it. I'm like, okay, I guess our PS5 is just going to start dying. Is that a thing? They're just going to start dropping like flies? Hopefully not. But, mine's been okay. I have a buddy who has one. His so far has been okay. PlayStation Nexus, you're saying PS5 copy speeds are the same as PS4, I found. That's interesting. For me, I've actually noticed it's faster. I believe it was Call of Duty. It was actually today, earlier this morning, it had to copy the file. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I just want to, the one time I don't leave my console in rest mode, I just wanted to play a little bit. And I sat there. And so I went to go do something on the computer for like probably 3 to 4 minutes. And in that 3 to 4 minutes, I went back, it was at 98%. So I was like, whoa, that was actually pretty quick. So it might vary, for each individual. Download speeds, I do want to say, this was something I didn't talk about either. Download speeds for the PlayStation 5 games, granted, I think the one game I don't have the disc version of is Call of Duty. That downloaded very quickly. It definitely took some time. It's not like it downloaded 135 gigabytes in like, 5 minutes or anything like that. But it probably took 15, 20 minutes, maybe 25 max. And honestly, for that amount of data, that's not that bad. But I do have pretty decent internet, so that is also a big reason why. So I don't know. To me, it does seem like downloads have significantly improved for the disc-based versions of the games. They're really quick. Like, it downloads really quick. So, and hello to everybody just entering the stream now. I see people just joining. Welcome to part 2 of episode 40. You know what? If there was ever a time to do a part 2 of a podcast, though, I'm glad it's episode 40. I mean, I know it's not usually, 40 is not looked at as like a big celebratory number normally for stuff like this, but hey, the big 40, I guess, it's better than part 2, episode 36, part 2. That just sounds awkward. So, yeah, when it comes to issues with the Xbox Series X, again, I haven't really looked into it too much. I did see some people were trying to let me know, they're like, MBG, it turns out that guy who posted that video that went viral of the Series X smoking, like it was about to catch fire. People were telling me that he was interviewed recently, and he confirmed, now he could have been lying, but he said that he doesn't vape, he doesn't smoke, and that his console legitimately like was smoking. So I don't know, guys. Again, if it's a widespread issue, we're gonna learn about it. Um, 12T Flop Brute Force, nice name. You're saying you're saying no. The editor's PS5 for Review Tech USA didn't die. It was just making noise. What's known as a coil whine. Oh, maybe I read his title wrong or something, because I could have swore he said in his title or his thumbnail that his editor's PS5 died. I'm actually gonna check real quick. Oh, okay. He said broken. All right. Well, I mean, I can't count that as hit. I mean, that's not the same as him saying it's dead. So he said other defects emerge. My editor's PS5 is already broken. Is broken already. Okay. Well, I guess, I didn't watch it. For those who are, I guess it was the coil whine, if that's what you're saying. But it is what it is. Again, it's to be expected. I wouldn't fixate on it. I just want to say I know I sound like a broken record, but people really do need to understand, if this is a serious issue, if there are any serious defects with either of these new consoles, we're going to know for sure in the next couple of months. We will know. So hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully it's nothing. You want to think it's nothing, right? Because that would just suck, whether it were to be for Xbox or the PS5. D-Dog, you're saying my PS5 screams and leaks water when I give it a bath. Should I call Sony? You might have to call Sony about that, man. That sounds like a serious defect. You might have to send that back into them. But we do have some other topics to go over here. So I want to talk about a comment that Phil Spencer made recently, and I actually have it written down here. I did find it interesting. I don't agree with it, but I think it will be fascinating to see what happens with what he said. So Phil Spencer has made some comments on the console gaming space recently, saying he believes it's shrinking. Speaking to The Guardian about Microsoft being perceived as Sony's main competitor, Spencer noted that there are 3 billion gamers in the world, but only around 200 million households with a video game console. He believes that those who are still engaged in console wars aren't keeping up with the times. I think the people who want to pit us against Sony based on who sold the most consoles lose the context of what gaming is about today, Spencer told The Guardian. That said, Spencer still enjoys competing with Sony and Nintendo because at the end of the day, all three companies share something in common. They want to make great games, improve gaming, and see the industry grow. I love competing with Sony and Nintendo because I know why they're in the business, and they've been here for decades, Spencer explained. And yes, we're going to compete like crazy, but we also understand that it is about making great games for people to play. So I thought that these comments from Phil were pretty interesting. I can't sit here and act like, oh my God, Phil, how could you say that? Because I don't think anything he's saying here is too bad. However, I don't necessarily agree with the overall. Okay, well, the overall sentiment he's trying to get across, I can agree with. We just want to play great games, and I appreciate that he's bringing it back to that. I do think it's a little bit ironic, considering it's like, well, Sony makes great games, Nintendo makes great games, Microsoft, it seems you've been struggling, to make those same type of great games. And, I do appreciate him focusing on that, though, because regardless of the direction that Microsoft ends up going in within the console space over the next 5 to 10 years, I do think that, the focus should always be on the games. But I think what's weird about his comment is it's kind of like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's super easy for you to say that when your console is the one that's struggling to really kind of catch fire, to say the console war thing, you're behind with the times. Like, I get what he means by that. Like, I get that he's trying to convey that Microsoft is moving in a different direction and their priority is no longer the console. And to me, that just seems like an unfortunate thing because Sony's priority is still the console. Nintendo's priority is still the console. And I feel like, there's really no reason why Xbox's priority shouldn't still be the console. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. I don't think the Xbox console itself was ever truly the problem. And I think that's why I find Phil's comments so fascinating. He says that he is focused on making great games, just like Sony is, just like Nintendo is. But at the same time, he talks about having a wider reach. He says 3 billion gamers. And it's like, I get that there's 3 billion gamers, but the question is how many of those 3 billion really care about a gaming experience such as what you're seeing on screen right now, that being Demon Souls. Obviously, it's a more hardcore game. Not everybody's going to, really be that into it, right? Like it's not the most widest reaching game, but like bringing up Demon Souls as to me, that's an interesting game to actually use. And I'm glad I picked that one because if you think about it, do you guys remember where Demon Souls started? Demon Souls started as a game that Sony thought was a failure, complete failure, because they said this is too extreme, this is too hardcore, nobody's going to want to play this. It's so niche that it just shouldn't even exist. Like that was basically Sony's mentality towards Demon Souls. And they had the opportunity back then, and I think this was like in 2008 and 2009, to actually purchase From Software, most likely, to actually get them on board and basically own what would become the Dark Souls IP. And they really dropped the ball big time because of that mentality where it's like, it's not wide enough reaching, so therefore we're not interested in this game. It's a complete failure. And you're saying From Software didn't like it either. Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, it has an interesting, it's interesting because I'm sure that even people with, I don't know the full story, but I'm assuming that there were even, I'm sure apparently I say niche wrong. I don't know. Anyway, or niche, I don't know how to say it, guys. But I'm sure there were some people within From Software as well that were like, this is too hardcore, man. Like, nobody's going to play our game, And I guess the point I'm trying to get at is, From Software, they kind of separated from Sony after that. And they went on to make Dark Souls. And Dark Souls was the game. Like, let's be honest right now, guys. Dark Souls is Demon Souls, right? Demon Souls is Dark Souls. They're the same game on so many levels. The difference is Dark Souls was the one that became mainstream, even though the DNA of the game is identical to that of Demon Souls. And the reason for that was because, well, not because of Sony. It was because they went out on their own, they had a different publisher, different marketing, and the game caught on. And before you knew it, Dark Souls was a game where suddenly everyone was like, oh my God, this game is amazing. And it's one of these games where word of mouth really benefited it. And I do have a point I'm trying to make here. And because of that, Dark Souls 2 came about and Dark Souls 3. And the Dark Souls trilogy was born, and we also got Bloodborne. That was Sony basically realizing that, oh God, we really screwed up. We need to get them to make a game for us again. Another Souls-like game. So they made Bloodborne. And it's why we have a Demon Souls remake today. And a genre that started out as something that was initially deemed a failure because not enough people would like it. Not enough people are going to play it. Not enough people are going to buy a console to play this game. It has exploded since then, and it's one of the most beloved, gaming franchises ever created. And Demon Souls is the start of it all. And the whole point I'm trying to get at here is that I do not think that the idea of success or the metric of success should be determined by the amount of people that you're getting in the door. At least not in the way that Microsoft is trying to do it. Because the thing is, you can't really fault a business or a company like Sony or Microsoft for saying, well, there's not enough people interested. We need to get more people in. I get that. It's called growth. Every business, every company strives for that. I guess I'm just saying that the pivot and the deviation that Phil is he has been creating and he has created with the Xbox brand, where it's like, we're not really worried about, selling 200 million consoles, because that's what they were worried about at the start of last generation with the Xbox One. They said they hoped to sell 200 million consoles. We saw how that turned out. And it's unfortunate because, you can still, there's organic growth and then there is I guess you could say artificial growth. The reason why I'm using the Souls games and the Soulsborne games as reference is because that is the best example, same with PlayStation in general, the best example of organic growth where he doesn't care about organic growth anymore. Like, I get that he's like, oh, we want to make great games, but Phil, what is your idea of a great game? Is it God of War 2018? Because that's a great game. Is it Demon's Souls? Because that's also a great game. Is it even something like Astro's Playroom? Because that's a great game. Granted, it's one that comes built into the console. I just feel that his idea of a great game is more focused on how can we make a game that appeals to everybody? One of the things that Phil also said, and I don't mean to turn this into an Xbox podcast. I know that that's how it sounds, but I'm trying to, bring it back home here. I'm going to, don't worry. One of the things that Phil also said recently, this was like a couple weeks ago in an interview, he was asked in an interview, like, what genre of game do you think Xbox really needs more of? What do you think that they really need to work on it? And I kid you not, do you know what his answer was? E for everyone games. He said, like, more family friendly games. And I'm not against that, but considering who's saying this, considering the brand that this is coming from, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, no, that's not what you need more of. You don't need more of that. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, pursue that, but that answer really caught me off guard. I thought he was going to say more single player, cinematic driven games, given the success we've seen Sony achieve with those types of games. But that's not what he said. He literally said E for everyone games. And I get that it's like Nintendo is the king of that, obviously. And Sony does it. I think Sony's proven that they can still strike a good balance with games like Sackboy and Astro's Playroom. But I think Microsoft already kind of has that with games like Sea of Thieves and Everwild and, Battletoads and stuff like that. And other stuff that, even games like Grounded. Like, those to me come off as like E for everyone games. Those are not games that are competing with these bigger, more cinematic, AAA games. Jake, you're saying MBG, my PS5 is coming today. Can't wait to play Demon's Souls and Miles Morales. Well, congratulations, man. I hope you have a great time with your PS5. Something tells me you're going to love playing both of those games. I know I have been loving it. So really happy to hear that, man. Good for you. Reza, you're saying, I bought 2 PS5s from Facebook Marketplace for me and my brother and paid 2,400 Australian dollars, but I'm so happy with the PS5. That's crazy, dude. Well, hey, man, that's dedication. That's dedication. For those people who are selling it for that amount, that's absolutely ridiculous. But as long as you're happy, man, that's all that matters. If the price doesn't matter to you and you're happy with that, then that's what matters most. And I'm glad to hear that. D-Dog, you're saying, yeah, I got to say, I like how Sony organically grows their studios. By the way, is there any news on that Bluepoint acquisition rumor? There's no more news than what I talked about in yesterday's video. I'm hoping we will hear something, kind of the situation where there's smoke, there's fire. But I'm going to be honest right now, D-Doc, like it would be more surprising to me if Sony doesn't buy Bluepoint after Demon's Souls. That would be more surprising to me. The rumor itself, in my opinion, doesn't even matter that much. I mean, it's nice to hear it, but I don't even know that the person who said the rumor is even verified or anything. But that, to me, that's like not the important part. The important part is like Demon's Souls is sitting at a 92 on Metacritic right now, Demon's Souls remake, and Bluepoint clearly, they're free agents, and Microsoft is clearly looking to pick up anybody and everybody that they can. Sony, I really hope that right now, as we speak, you are in the process of purchasing Bluepoint games because you need them under your umbrella. I think they've more than earned a spot underneath, Sony's first party umbrella, and I think that Sony would really benefit from that. You're telling me it's at a 93 now? Really? It increased? Damn, that is crazy. That is crazy impressive. Demon's Souls is so good. I can't wait to play it again. Like, that's the thing. I'm trying so hard not to play it again until I go on stream, because I know you guys want to see like my you want to see it organically. That's the word of this podcast today, organic and organically. So I can't wait to play it again. But to get back and just to round off this whole point I was trying to make, The reason why I find Phil's comments interesting is because he's talking about a couple of things here. He's talking about the console not really being the priority anymore because there's not enough people out there, in his opinion, that he's trying to reach in the console space. Something does tell me that if Microsoft was able to sell as many consoles as Sony is able to, his words would be very different right now. I could be wrong. Maybe they wouldn't be. But I do think that it's interesting he's saying that while also talking about Sony making great games, Nintendo making great games, but him also saying that they want to make great games. And, it's the whole Game Pass subscription, everybody is allowed in, lowering the bar to entry. I don't believe that gaming should be this thing where it's like, oh, you have to be this certain way to be a gamer, to play games. Like, I don't look at it like that. I do just feel, though, however, that it's like anything else. Like, if you're the type of gamer that prefers to pull out your phone or a tablet and just play some casual mobile games, and that's what you're interested in, I understand that Microsoft wants to appeal to those gamers by being like, oh, look, we have xCloud. You can play Xbox games on your phone now. But what's weird to me about that is that, like, if those games were appealing to that demographic in the first place, wouldn't they already be there? Wouldn't they have already bought the console and bought the game? And so you could look at it from the other side and say, well, but that's still a good thing because you're basically, Microsoft is making it super inexpensive and easy for these specific type of gamers, the more casual gamers, to access these games. But if that's the case, right? If like, I want to look at it like this for a second, because I do think this is interesting. All right. Let's take Demon's Souls again, and let's just pretend for a second that it's not a PlayStation exclusive. It's actually an Xbox IP. And Bluepoint remade this game for Xbox, just like it is now on PS5, and it released day one for the Xbox Series X, S, PC, and it released on Game Pass. Okay? There's no doubt. You ready for this? There's no doubt that many, many, many more people would play Demon's Souls than they are right now. Like, there would be way more people, probably millions of more people playing Demon's Souls than they are right now on the PS5. And that may sound great, like, oh, more people playing this game. Here's the problem. Think about the type of game Demon's Souls is. Think about how well known the Soulsborne genre of game is right now, okay? I guarantee that if there were, say, 4 million people on Game Pass who were to try out Demon's Souls, I bet you the retention for that would probably be like, I don't know, if they're lucky, maybe 1 million, probably less than that of those players. Because first of all, Xbox isn't known for these types of games. And second of all, you're talking about people who are subscribed to a subscription service, where the only thing they really care about is, how inexpensive it is to access games. They're going to play this game, like the large majority of them, and they're going to be like, oh my God, this either sucks or this is way too hard, this isn't fun, and they're never going to touch it again. And I guess all I'm trying to say is that there's a chance a game like Demon's Souls could potentially fail in a Game Pass-like model simply because the people who are going out there right now and paying $70 for this game, like, they know why they're paying $70 for it, and they're going to play it. And they may get their ass handed to them multiple times, like I have already, but they know what they're getting into. And, you could say, well, what about the point you made earlier, MBG? What about, if you were to expose more people to this game, a wider demographic? But that, you see what I'm saying? That's, in my opinion, that doesn't seem like organic growth to me. Organic growth to me seems like what Sony has done and what From Software has done with the Souls series. And that's why there's probably millions of people who own PS5s right now who are buying Demon's Souls for $70, no problem. Because they know, first of all, the quality is going to be there because you're paying for the quality. So that's not even a question. And I think if a game like Demon's Souls Remake were to launch in Game Pass, I think that the number one standout thing wouldn't be the amount of people who are playing it. It'd probably be like, wow, look at the quality of this game entering Game Pass. Now, let me ask you this. Is there a chance that the quality of Demon's Souls Remake would have been lowered if it was being remade to go into something like Game Pass? Would there be an easy mode integrated into Demon's Souls if it was being made for, say, something like Game Pass? And if that was the case, does that essentially ruin the essence of the game? I know I'm just going down a bunch of different rabbit holes here, but it all really does come down to one simple fact, and that is I just don't think that Phil Spencer is in the position, frankly, to be talking about making great games. If he wants to acknowledge that they're trying to make great games, that's fine, but it's just a very strange thing when he almost speaks as if, oh yeah, we're above Sony and Nintendo. Because I mean, come on, he's being a little bit condescending, just a little bit, where he's like, yeah, we're not competing with them. He said it before, he's competing with Google and Amazon, and I guess it's easy to really kind of come off that way when you buy Bethesda outright because you have the money to do so. But still, a lot of it just comes off to me as like, we're sitting here at the launch of the Xbox Series X. The last proper gameplay we saw from a first-party game, as far as I'm aware, correct me on this if I'm wrong, was Halo Infinite, and it was far from ideal. October's very own, what did I miss? You missed a little bit. But I'm just saying, like, the position Xbox is in right now, I just think it, it's just a shame. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just a shame because as excited as I am for the PS5 right now and PS5 games, and as thankful as I am that this is the position PlayStation's in right now, I think it's an ideal position as a gamer, as somebody who gets excited about new consoles and more specifically new games to play. I think that Sony's position is ideal with the PS5. It's just a real shame to me that Xbox is in the position it's in, and the real shame comes in the fact that these are the responses that Phil's giving. That's all I'm trying to say, is that I would like Phil to just say, we are going to compete with Sony very heavily in the console space, and we plan to sell millions and millions of consoles. That's what we want to do. I would love to hear Phil say, we don't need more E for everyone games. We need more cinematic, story-driven single-player games to compete with some of the other bigger AAA titles that are out there. I would prefer Phil say something along the lines of, while we don't have a very good launch lineup right now, we would love to have a launch lineup, but we just, we don't. So anyway, I do still have a few other things we're going to talk about. So what I want to do now is, hold on, if you guys could hit that like button, by the way, we're at 320 likes, roughly 325. So hit that like button. Let's see if we can get it up to 400 likes. I appreciate you guys being here. I know that we're doing a second podcast today, which is really weird. 2 podcasts in one day. Not something you see very often. So let me see what other topics I have left here. Okay, here's something interesting. So speaking of consoles, and we were talking about Microsoft, Microsoft has announced that the Xbox Series X and S launch is apparently their most successful console launch in Xbox history. So that's super interesting to me, given the situation. Believe it or not, that does make me happy. That actually does make me happy, because it essentially means that console gaming is still healthy and strong. And while maybe Microsoft doesn't have a strong lineup or even a lineup at all, it is still nice to know that people do still care about the console experience enough to where they even if you're not a fan of PlayStation, you're still going to go out there and, support a console. So I do like that. Darren, you're saying glad you're back, MBG. Are there any games you missed on PS4 that you're going to play on PS5? I've still got to play Red Dead 2 and Lost Legacy. To be honest, I have a massive backlog. It's kind of crazy. There are many games that I have not played yet, and I'm going to be frank, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to them. It is nice to know, though, that if I ever do want to, I will be able to on the PS5 very easily. But yeah, games like Lost Legacy. I did play Red Dead 2, didn't play Lost Legacy, but there's definitely a list of games. So thank you for that super chat. We also have 74 Tibbs. You're saying, I tend to go back and rewatch your videos where you are honestly talking about switching back to the bright side. By any means, Sony is not perfect. Nothing is, but I believe they do care about us. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you go back and watch any of my content. The support is awesome. And so, yeah, man. I do think Sony, they definitely do have, I think, a little bit of care. I mean, I know that there's a lot of executives and it is a business, but I do think that they do care about their demographic to an extent. Sir Speaks a Lot, you're saying, LOL, you thought I would ignore the feet where, yeah, I thought I was going to go this whole first and second podcast without you showing up, man. You say, sorry, I'm late. I had to take my dog to the groomers because he's a bit dirty, but yeah, PS5 games have impressive ratings right out of the gate. That is true. They do have impressive ratings. And I think that that's just a testament to how strong the PS5's launch lineup is, how hard Sony and their teams have worked to make sure that they had a strong launch lineup. I think Spider-Man is sitting at an 85 on Metacritic. Astro's Playroom's at an 82. I don't know if there's a Metacritic score out for Sackboy. Maybe you guys can let me know in the chat if there's a Metacritic out for Sackboy. But I know that Demon Souls is sitting at a 92 or a 93. And there's the Pathless as well, which I, surprisingly got really good review scores. So, and Bugsnax, even Bugsnax, believe it or not, got decent review scores. Like it was like at a 79 or an 80. So, it seems like the only real loser here was Godfall, which is kind of surprising to me. I that's sitting at like a 61 on Metacritic, and I've heard not good things about it. Apparently, it's just like a really, really hollow, shallow game. I'll have to play it. You're saying MBG stop attacking Xbox. Xbots are so mad that they're even going to try to hack you. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It is pretty strange that seems to happen when I'm being very opinionated on Xbox. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it's not that serious. We're just talking about console platforms, like you don't have to attempt to ruin somebody's life just because of their opinion on a console brand. But people are going to do what they're going to do regardless. But, I think what some people don't realize is the seriousness of when you try to do stuff like that. I don't think that they understand, like, the type of consequences that are actually out there for people who get caught when trying to do that stuff. But some of them don't care. So, apparently Godfall is getting it's not good. Not good. And that's disappointing to me because I feel like Godfall was a game that always had a lot like going against it. But I've thought, maybe it'll turn out better than people expect, but I don't know. It is quite unfortunate. But yeah, talking about the launch of the Xbox Series X and S, it will be very interesting to see what, it's going to be interesting to see what type of numbers, excuse me, like burping over here. It will be interesting to see what type of numbers Sony can do with the PS5. I'm positive that Sony will be announcing some type of numbers. And that's actually, dude, look, that's the thing about Xbox's numbers doing so well is that like I do think that both Sony and Microsoft, they're going to be, I think, breaking, like, I think Microsoft is currently breaking records I mean, they said this was the most successful console launch for them, but Phil Spencer refused to give numbers, and I can respect that. If you're not going to give the numbers when things are going bad, but then you're also not going to give the numbers when the things are going good, I can respect that. At that point, it's proof that you just don't want to give the numbers anymore. So I can appreciate that. Um, but I think the really interesting thing is that I think Sony and Microsoft are currently breaking records right now. And that's good in general. Like, I know that I am hard on Xbox, but I do want to see them succeed, man. I really do. Because I do care about the console gaming space, not just the PlayStation console gaming space. I care about the console gaming space in general. And I think that Microsoft, if you think about it, is still really, and this is nothing against Nintendo. I just think we can all agree Nintendo's kind of doing their own thing. They always kind of have been. But I think we can all agree that Microsoft is still the company that can really go toe to toe with Sony, like eventually, maybe not right at this current moment, but they can do it. And we all know that. And we're all rooting for them to do that. That's why I'm still so, like, guys, if I didn't care about Xbox at all anymore, I literally wouldn't be talking about them. But I do care because they still do have some good games I'm looking forward to in the pipeline, like Hellblade 2, the next Forza Horizon, State of Decay 3. But I would like to see that drive more of the console side of things rather than the service side of things. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but the better the Xbox does, the better it is for the console industry in general. We know the PS5 is going to do well no matter what. Just how well, we're going to find out. But that's what I like to see. Sir Speaks a Lot. Once again, you're saying if you want a true test to see which is better, stand outside with one guy holding an Xbox and one guy holding a PS5 and see who gets shot versus beat up. I wouldn't recommend doing that, man. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry. Just gotta drink some water here. See what you guys are saying in the chat. But yeah, it will be interesting to see the either the numbers or just what Microsoft and Sony have to say about their console launch. I will say that we are a couple days removed from the launch of the PS5, and Sony hasn't said anything yet. I'm assuming they're going to. Like, you can see how great to a start the PS5 is getting off to. And Jim Ryan, I believe, said recently that he's like, Sony's literally astonished by the demand, which is crazy, considering they were, he was there for the PS4 launch as well. So I'm assuming that this is even more successful than the PS4 launch. It seems like the only real problem right now, truly, is supplying that demand. Same with Xbox as well. But, I assume if Sony's going to announce something about how the console is doing right now, similar to Microsoft, I think they're going to do it this upcoming week. So I will be interested to see that. And so actually, speaking of sales, there is something else I do want to bring up to you guys. And once again, hit that like button, guys. We're just on the cusp of 400 likes. Let's see if we can get to 450. Really appreciate that. It does help the streams out a lot. One other thing I do want to bring up as well is, did you guys see that Ghost of Tsushima has apparently sold 5 million copies and like broke a record for like the fastest selling like original game or new IP? 5 million since July. Like, that is insane. Like, I don't think people like fully understand like how insane that number is. And that's crazy to me because if you remember, we made a video or we discussed how Sucker Punch was hiring for a new lead writer or a quest writer, something like that recently. And in the job description, it literally said like you need to have knowledge of like feudal Japan and stuff like that. And there were some people who were like skeptical. They're like, oh, wait, are you sure this is for more Ghost of Tsushima or a Ghost of Tsushima sequel? Guys, like, if you had any doubt whatsoever that there was going to be a Ghost of Tsushima sequel made exclusively for the PS5, you don't have to doubt that anymore. You don't have to worry about that. I assure you that breaking a record like that, hitting 5 million units in just a matter of months like that with a new IP, yeah, that a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima was greenlit for the PS5 probably as they were wrapping up that game, because they were probably looking at the pre-orders, and they were seeing like how well this game is projected to sell. That's insane, guys. Like 5 million units. And I'm so happy to see that, man, because Ghost of Tsushima was incredible. What they did with that story, Jin as a character, I thought it was fantastic. The ending was amazing. The setting was amazing. The gameplay, the combat, it was really, really good, man. And I really love what they did with the multiplayer as well. So I just kind of wanted to take a minute to acknowledge this and let everybody know that this is a thing that is happening. So, or that has happened. So expect Ghost of Tsushima 2 on the PS5. And can you just imagine what that's going to look like? Damn, man, that's going to look really, really good. So, oh man, yeah, it's just a lot of good stuff, guys. A lot of good stuff. I think what I put on the thumbnail for this podcast is the PS5 is out and it's amazing. And that is really how I feel, guys. Like, I do feel that the PS5, it is meeting my expectation personally. In some ways, it's surpassing it. Like, I knew games were going to look good on the PS5. I was gushing about this earlier in my first stream. When I saw just how good Spider-Man Miles Morales looked in the performance mode, that was like the next gen moment for me. I'm like, I literally can't believe, I can't believe how good this looks. I can't believe it. And I think the reason why that's amplified so much is because when I sit here and I think this is like literally one of the first PS5 games alongside Demon Souls, like AAA, exclusives. How can it get better than this? is what I'm wondering. So that's what's exciting. Is like, to be honest, I don't know how much better it can get from a visual standpoint. And I'm not sure that that's what matters, though. Like, that's the thing here. And that's what excites me, guys, because, when you talk about just scratching the surface, it seems like, yeah, I saw it. You're saying FYI, MBG, you know that Insomniac said Spider-Man wasn't even close to what the PS5 is capable of. Yeah, I noticed that too. And I have this feeling that they're not really talking about even like from a performance level. I think what they're really trying to hint at is that right now we're seeing like traditional game design, and for maybe the next year, 2 years, we're going to continue to see more traditional, design games, because that's what developers are used to doing. And it takes time when you're talking about a fundamental shift in game philosophy and game design from the ground up, that's going to take some time to achieve. But the fact that from a visual standpoint, everything on PS5 is going to look amazing. I'm genuinely excited to see how developers are going to get crazy with it. Because I read this interview with Mark Cerny. Now, Mark Cerny doesn't give interviews very often. And this interview was with the Washington Post, and I read the entire thing. Chris B. are saying, I hope fully destructible environments make a comeback. Yeah, that's it too. Like, back with last generation, I think the last game one game that really stands out to me, I don't know if it was the last game I played, but one game that really stands out to me with destructible environments is what is it? Battlefield Bad Company 2. And that's an old game, man. But for the time, that was like super impressive. Like, you could literally collapse entire buildings and stuff consistently, not just like a few here and there. It was really cool. But that's that is something that they can do, not from the cloud either. Like, the hardware is capable of doing stuff like that. And when you think back to that demo, if you remember that demo that we saw for the PS5, the Unreal Engine 5 demo at the very end, when she was like going super fast to, wherever she was going to, everything around her was collapsing in real time. So yeah, that's a big thing, man. That's a big thing. Let me see. We have Brandon. You're saying beyond this, PlayStation 6 or 7 is full dive, fully interactable VR worlds with Sword Art Online. Oh yeah, dude. I don't even know. I can't think that far ahead, right? I don't even think Sony can. I mean, it's their job to. But yeah, thinking about what like the PlayStation 6 and 7 could be like, I don't know, man. You're probably going to have like, when you go to sit down, you hold the controller, but you have like these little sensor things you put all over different parts of your body. So you like feel you feel the haptic feedback on that specific portion of your body. Like when you're running with your character, the sensors that are hooked up, you like feel it in your legs. You get shot in a game, you feel it like in your arm or something. I don't know. That's probably kind of ridiculous, but who knows? Who knows what the future holds with that? But PlayStation 6 for taste and smell. Yeah, that would be weird. But that's what's exciting about this, guys. Like the next gen is here, and I know that earlier I was talking about comparisons between the PS5 and the Xbox games, but it is the early days. And like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys right now. Microsoft, they're going, the Series X console is going to do great things. All right. Like I know that the expectation was a little bit strange for some time, where it's like, the expectation is the PS5 currently is defying expectations, right? But they're both really good consoles, and I am happy about that, because what that means is like when we finally like fully remove ourselves from last generation, like when we are like fully in the thick of next generation with the PS5 and Series X, we're going to see some crazy things, dude, like from both Microsoft and Sony, and also third-party developers. And I know it does sound a little bit cliche, but it really is exciting, man. Like it is. This is just the beginning, and the beginning's already getting off to a great start. And I really can't wait, man. I mean, I can, because I have a lot to play, and there's going to be a lot to play over the next year. So it's not that I can't wait. It's just I'm excited. I think we're always excited for the future, but it's just because it keeps getting better and better. Brispy Flat, you're saying for the Bad Company 2 shout out, remaster it. Yeah, dude, we need it. We need a Bad Company 2 remaster. That's a remaster I'll pay for sure. I'm interested to see what Battlefield 2021 is going to be like. Apparently they're going all in. See, that's where I get excited. Just talking about Battlefield for 1 second here, it seems confirmed that the next Battlefield game, and Battlefield 5 was kind of a disaster, but I think they've learned. You want to believe that they've learned since then. The next Battlefield game, whether it's Battlefield 6 or Battlefield Bad Company 3, one can dream. Apparently it's going to be next gen only. Like it's just being made for the next gen consoles, and I assume PC as well, high-end PC. That's exciting. That's what I'm talking about, man. I want to see what these develop, because DICE is talented. Like regardless of how Battlefield 5 was handled, DICE is very talented. They're some of the most talented developers in the world. Their games look incredible graphically. That I want to see that. I want to see what a next-gen only Battlefield game is going to look like. I mean, you want to talk about destructible environments. They could really do something special, but they have to deliver on what the core Battlefield fan base really wants, and what has made Battlefield so great over these years. So that'll be exciting. But the same goes for many other developers and many other studios. Like I want to see what games can do when they're not tethered to these older consoles. But it's not just a matter, something I realized too about cross-gen games is it's not just a matter of, it's cross-gen, so it's automatically going to be held back. Not necessarily, though. I realize that now because it's a matter of time as well. Like if developers right now were like, if every single developer right now in studio was like, we're not making games for PS4 and Xbox One anymore, that doesn't mean they're automatically going to be able to fundamentally change the gameplay. It takes time. Like they're going to have to experiment. They're going to have to learn, and literally come up with different ways to develop games in a good way, right? But the reason why I referenced that Mark Cerny, we're getting close to the end here because I didn't want this to go on for too long. But, the reason why I referenced that Mark Cerny, interview with the Washington Post is because one of the things he kept kind of touching on when he was talking about the philosophy of the PlayStation 5 and what went into the development of the PlayStation 5 architecture was, the idea was they wanted to make a console to where when a studio is working with this console, when developers are working on the console, they want them to be able to feel free of having to worry about working around problems. Instead, they want the main focus to be on ideas for the game and not ideas for how do we make this work within this hardware constraint, because that's been a huge problem that developers have been running into for years now with consoles and PC and low end PCs as well, and PC specs, where they always have to think like, how do we make this work? So the focus deviates from how do we make this game better and more interesting and more exciting and more creative. It goes from that to, oh wait, like how do we fit this within this memory constraint, or how do we work around this bottleneck? And that's what I'm talking about right there, guys, is like that's the thing that it's going to be interesting to see creative minds just fully unleashed, where they're not going to have to worry anymore about, I mean, there's still going to be limitations, of course, but the ceiling has been raised so high at this point that new things are on the horizon. So, yeah, that pretty much does it though for all of my my specific topics. And so I do feel satisfied now. I feel satisfied that I was able to get through all of the topics. Very, very interesting turn of events here with the podcast. I'm not going to end it just yet though, because I do want to do a short Q&A with you guys, if you don't mind. If you have any questions, it's not going to go on for very long. Maybe just a short 5-10 minute Q&A. So start asking me some questions. Hit that like button, guys. We're almost at 500 likes. Excuse me. Maybe we can try to get to 500 likes, maybe 550 after that. We have over 880 people here watching, which is awesome. So thank you guys so much for being here. Hit that like button, and if you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the chat. MBG, what are you talking about? I don't know. What am I talking about? MBG, do you regret showing your face considering your looks? I mean, no, not really. I mean, all the feedback has been really positive, so that's nice. I appreciate that. If anything, I feel better because I'm like, oh, okay, like people like having me on camera sometimes, so that's great. Do you think developers will exclude the Series S from some games? I think it's a possibility. I think it really just comes down to whether or not developers like genuinely do run into serious issues. If they do, I think that, yeah, they'll drop it. But I don't know if Microsoft will let them, because Microsoft might be like, it depends. Like if enough developers run into issues to where like they're just like constantly going to Microsoft being like, we can't make this game work on this console properly for what we want to do. At first, Microsoft might be like, well, that's too bad. You have to make it work. But if enough developers have that same complaint, then they'll probably be like, all right, never mind. And that would be really disastrous for Microsoft and all the people who bought the S. So hopefully not. Hopefully not. MBG, I like to play COD and Madden. Do you recommend Demon Souls? Well, I will tell you right now, Demon Souls is a very, very, very different experience from Call of Duty and Madden. And, you could maybe say Call of Duty and Madden are more casual. Just know that if you go into Demon Souls, it is not a casual experience. But if you're willing to give it a chance and stick with it, you might be surprised at how much you end up enjoying it. Do you think Microsoft gets away with talking smack about PlayStation and pretending to be the good guy too often? I mean, not really, to be honest, because it's like, given the position they're in, I don't really expect them to do any different. I know I talk a lot about what Phil Spencer has to say, and like, I'm so surprised by it, but I'm really not. I do just find it interesting to talk about. And Phil Spencer certainly says some things that make me feel like I have an opinion on what he just said, but it's understandable given their position. MBG, do you think it's safe to transfer my PS4 games from my external drive to my PS5 when I get it, or would it cause any problems? I mean, look, given that there's been some people who are saying that that's what's causing their issues, if it were me personally, I wouldn't bother risking it, but you'll probably be okay. But I'm just saying, like, we do have to be aware that there are some people who are experiencing issues that seem to stem from that. Although we don't know for sure. We have to kind of keep an eye out, like I said. Amazing show, MBG. Glad you're enjoying your PS5. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad too. It's been great, man. It really has been. Let me see here. I'm losing track. I might not be able to answer every question. MBG, really loved your playthrough streams. Any plans for when the next one will be? The next stream is going to be Demon Souls Part 2, and it's going to be happening sometime this week, either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, most likely. But I will let you know ahead of time, so don't worry about that. But that's going to be when we do it. And it'll probably be either around the same time we do the podcast. If not, then it'll be later in the evening. But again, I will give you a date and a time, so don't worry. MBG is Shy the Buff. Yeah, I've been told I look like Shia LaBeouf a few times before. MBG, is your PS5 loud? Has your PS5 crashed or something? No, I haven't had any crashes. Like, the actual console itself has not crashed, and it's not loud. Creeping Stage 514 is saying, if you plan on streaming more often, get a... I don't know. I don't know if you're saying effing mic. Well, that's the thing, dude, is like, it's just super convenient for me to stream through my PS5. And I like doing it that way. I mean, I bought the PlayStation camera. The mic I'm using when I stream is the best quality mic I have found so far. But I can't, as far as I know, I can't like hook up my Yeti to it or anything like that. Maybe I could try though, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't work. So I apologize that the audio quality isn't as good as what you're hearing right now, but I try to do the best I can. MBG, in my imagination, short, ugly week after the face reveal, big bad chipmunk. Well, thank you. I appreciate all of the kind words you guys have, sent my way. It's very nice of you. Studios you consider worthwhile for Sony, definitely Bluepoint. Housemarque, I think, is another one that maybe is trying to prove themselves with their first AAA game. Kojima Productions would be interesting. And I'm sure there's more. My brain's a little bit fried at the moment. MBG, on PS5, can you bypass the menus for certain games through cards taking you directly into gameplay? Yes, you can. You can. It's very cool. It is a nice feature that the PS5 offers. MBG, the completionist, really enjoyed his time with Bugsnax. He said the game was surprisingly dark at times and deep. Really? That's surprising. Maybe we will have to do a Bugsnax stream at some point. MVG, how many PS5s can you bench? I don't know. I would have to experiment to find out. I wouldn't want to push it too far, though, because if I drop that bar, it's a lot of broken PS5s. Hi, MVG. How is the best to get PS5 online? I'm not sure I fully understand the question. Unfortunately, buddy, I don't think I'll be able to answer that one. Let me see. Okay, I'm really losing track here. This happens every time. All right, guys, I may miss some of your questions because it's shooting me to the bottom. MBG was thinking the same. I'm better off downloading them. Yeah, I mean, it may take longer, but better safe than sorry, at least until maybe there's an update or something. MBG, will you start streaming games? I have started streaming games, yeah. Awesome podcast, man. Sorry, but gotta go. It's all good, man. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all you guys who have come back for a second round. Thanks for coming back for part 2, MBG. No, thank you guys for being here. MBG, developers have to build a game engine from the ground up to fully utilize the high-end CPU. That's what Red Gaming Tech said. Yeah, that'll be interesting. There's definitely going to be a lot more work going into game engines as well. That's probably why it's going to take some time. But yeah, once that work is complete and they're able to fully utilize these new CPUs, oh boy, are we in for a good time. How much storage space do you have left on your PS5? I think right now I have about 400 gigs roughly, or 395. So I'm doing okay. MBG, have you played Dark Souls before? The fan of... Yeah, I have. I played all the Souls games. I literally have a poster, framed poster of Dark Souls 1, one of my all-time favorite games. MBG, your streams of the PS5 launch games were awesome, and your face reveal was a resounding success. But when will you reveal your pet feline? Have a great day. Yeah, I was hoping that like my cat would show up, but apparently they don't come around when I'm streaming on camera or anything like that for some reason. So one of these days. MBG, what do you think about the Xbox Series X getting a COD Warzone update to 120 FPS, not PS5? I think there's a reason for that, and it has to do with backwards compatibility. The Rocket League developer said that it's basically a flip of a switch to enable 120 hertz for backwards compatible games for the Xbox, but for the PS5 it requires like a full patch and more work. So that is unfortunate, but I'm certain that that's why. So it is unfortunate, but hopefully they'll work on a patch. I'm sure maybe if enough people demand it, they will. But and then we have another super chat. Creeping stage again. You say, FI fine mic with RTX voice is like an expensive mic. Oh, is that what it's called? I'm assuming. Maybe I'll have to look into that. I don't know. But all right, guys, I am going to have to end it here. My voice is really starting to go. And I think this is like, if you combine this with how long I went in the other podcast, I think it adds up to about like just one really long podcast. So, I think that's going to do it for me, guys. I do appreciate you coming back around for a second time and hanging out with me. Thank you for all the super chats. A huge shout out to all of my members. Again, for those of you who may have missed it, there are going to be some slight updates coming to the memberships. They're in the process of being reviewed right now. And so when they go live, I'll be sure to let everybody know. So thank you guys for your support. Hanging out with me. Always love it. It's always a really good time. Look forward to the usual upcoming content. And if you are interested in watching me stream some more games, some more Demon Souls specifically, I will be doing so later this week. And I will be sure to let you know ahead of time the day and date when that's going to be going down. And yes, I probably will have a face cam again because a lot of people seem to like the face cam for streams. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Until next time, take care, guys.